Yo, what's up guys, Gretchka here. I'm going to show you step by step the best and efficient way to scale your small meme coin portfolio. $20, $100, a few $100s, even $1,000 does not matter. If you have the strategy, mindset, and correct risk management, you can 10x, 100x, even 1,000x your portfolio if done right. Let's get into it. The easiest and indirect way to losing money trading meme coins is the buys and sells fees on these platforms. So you want to be using Axiom Pro. I have a link in the description for 10% off fees. You can literally trade with 0.0004 priority and bribe. And if you guys don't know, this is a total of 14 cents. And same thing with selling. So you're paying a whole 30 cents just to trade, a whole trade. It's insane, and they have the fastest transaction speed. So even though it's really cheap, you'll get filled really quickly. So they give you three different presets. For buy, you want to have 20% slippage and 0.0004 priority and bribe. And for sell, you want to have the same fees, except for slippage, you want to have 30%. So it gives you a little bit more leeway when you sell. And make sure Mev mode is off. And if you guys don't know what Mev mode is it's these bots that will front run your buys. So let's say you want to buy right here at 21K. They will buy right before you and they will send price up and you will get filled right up here. And then they just sell on you. So their whole goal is to make a profit. You want to have Mev mode off when you're playing with low amounts of money, like minimum 0.01 to zero point 0.4 Solana. Usually you want to be trading with like 0.1, zero point 0.2 Solana. Anything higher than zero point 0.4, zero point 0.5, you will get Mev. There's a chance of you getting Mev'd, and it's, yeah, pretty likely. So yeah, I just want to make sure that you want to have it turned on, so reduced and secure when you're trading with higher amounts of Solana. So for the second preset, this is where you're trading with more size. So same buy and sell slippage, except priority and bribe is 0.05 for priority and bribe is 0.01. And for sells, same thing. For Mev mode, you want to have it reduced. I mean, to be safe, you can have it on secure, but I had no trouble so far. Like I haven't gotten Mev yet with buying with around like 3 sol, 1 sol, 1.5 sol. No problems for me. But if you want to be safe, you can have it on secure. I have it on reduce just because it takes less time to get filled. And for the third preset, same buy and sell slippage, except the priority fee is a little bit more, so 0.01, and bribe is 0.01, same thing. I would honestly up these up just a little bit more because this third preset, this is where you're going to be trading with a lot of size. So minimum like 5 Solana, 10 Solana. You're trading with like 10, 15 Solana, let's say on big coins migrated. You want to get in big. Yeah, you want to have these fees higher and make sure your Mev mode is secure so you have the highest chance of not getting Mev'd. Now that you have the cheapest fees possible, you guys will save so much money. It's crazy. You'll have more chances to buy and sell. It's basically what these filters do for the fees. So now go on Pulse, go on these filters right here. For new pairs, you want to have max 10 minutes and max dev holding of 15% for audit. And on metrics, you want to have minimum market cap of 8,200 and minimum volume of 8,000. And for final stretch, 15-minute max age, 15% max dev holding. And for metrics, minimum volume of 25,000 and minimum market cap of 15,000. And make sure your protocols are on pump and bonk. You'll mostly be trading bonk coins because they surpass pump.fun in, trading volume and just overall market capitalization. And for migrated, this is for when coins migrate, you want to have age max at 360 minutes, dev holding max at 15%, metrics minimum volume of 150,000, minimum market cap of 50,000. These filters just make it so much easier to find coins that are running or getting a lot of volume, so you can scalp. Because the trading strategy I'm going to give you, it's a scalping strategy, right? So when I take off these metrics, look what happens. You're just gonna get a bunch of you're going to get an inflow of like a shit ton of coins that are not getting any volume. So that's why it's important to have these filters. So to grow a small port, let's say you have, you know, zero point 0.1 Solana, zero point 0.5, 1 Solana, even 0.05 Solana. Like it all works. It just depends on your risk, right? So let's say, okay, let's be realistic. Let's say you have like zero point 0.5 Solana, right? Let's say you have zero point 0.5 Solana. So you want to be risking at least 10% of that port. But obviously, if you're more experienced, you can go in with like zero point 0.1, even though you have zero point 0.5. Now for the actual trading strategy, since you guys have the cheapest fees now, you'll be saving a lot of money and you have really good filters. So this strategy is about scalping. So you want to be scalping for minimum 1.5x. But in my case, I really like to scalp minimum 2x, like 2 to 5x around there. So these filters, you're going to get a really good understanding of what coins are running. You obviously have to get good at spotting good narrative, volume and community. I have a video uploaded yesterday about, how to spot really good narrative, community, volume. You guys could check that out for a more in-depth guide. But basically, narrative is the story of the coin, and community. So there's like a lot of community coins, and how active are they? Are they pushing the coin? How good is a narrative? Is it really memeable? Things like that. And obviously volume, it's a price action of the coin. You also want to look at the token info. You want the top 10 holders, not to surpass over 35%. Look at the holders. How much supply do they own? This guy owns 3%, this guy owns 2.5. You don't want to see guys holding 4 or 5%, 6. It's not a good sign. You want to see if the dev is out. If it's a community coin, you want the dev to be out. You want the bundlers to be low. Also, you want to make sure about the DEX. You want to make sure the DEX gets paid pretty soon. Less insiders. You also want to have a good ratio of pro traders and holders. And pro traders is basically like real people with wallets, and the other people are bots. So you want to have like a decent ratio. I mean, this is like half, but yeah, you want to see like at least half. That's what I see is good so far. So yeah. So this strategy, it's a scalping strategy, right? So you want to be getting in and out really quickly because that's just the easiest way to grow your small portfolio. So you want to be getting into obviously, good narrative coins, more quality over quantity. But yeah, let's say you have like zero point 0.5. I would be doing like 0.05 to zero point 0.1 scalps and try to get a 2x. So you want to be getting into good narrative coins. Always buy on dips. Always buy on dips. So this coin started getting some good momentum right here. Went to 20K, went back down to 15K, went up again, 26K, came down like 33%. So you want to be buying into these lows right here. And see this one to, yeah, that's like a near 2x already. So 87%. Risk and mindset is super important. You want to be risking what you can lose, not what you can't. If you're risking half of your bank account, obviously you're gonna be really fearful and over trade, revenge trade, things like that. So yeah, you want to be risking what you can lose. And for mindset, obviously, yeah, don't overtrade, don't revenge trade. When you take losses, accept it. Don't try to take more trades, being more coins, try to make it back because most likely you'll lose it. And then you'll think to yourself, oh shit, I should not have done that. If you win a lot, don't be overconfident, try to stay neutral. Try to stay in between underconfidence and overconfidence. Stay in the middle. Stay neutral. You'll think more clearly. You'll act better. Try to have a clear mind, try to be focused, focusing on the fundamentals of meme coin trading. Also have a really tight stop loss. You don't want to be losing more than 50% max. You want to be losing at least like 30 to 50%. So it gets you in the game more and you have more time to trade. You have more chances, more opportunities. So yeah, if you're losing a lot, you want to be losing a little bit, but when you win, you want to be winning a lot more, right? You want it to overcome your losses. You have to be scanning, you have to be on the charts. The reality is you have to be on these charts for at least minimum, a few hours or minimum like an hour a day, honestly. But if you want to be more successful, you want to be looking at the charts more and just being really focused on spotting really good narrative because the more time you put in, the more money you'll make. So yeah, you want to be getting into final stretch and migrated coins here. So this right here, job work for your bags. This is a really good narrative. I like this because when coins come out and people are shilling it, you gotta work for your bags, right? So this coin is about posting about it more, posting on Twitter more about the coin, giving it free advertising, working for your bags. So you want to be looking at the 1 second chart, but on these higher cap coins, you want to be looking at 5 and 15 second. I like doing 1 and 5 second right here, and just see the charts, see how well the dips have been doing, and always want to buy on a dip. So minimum like 30% dip and maximum 62%, because anything higher than that, it signals that the coin is just it's kind of dead. So let's see these one, two. So after migration, this was holding steady, just kept being a lot of volume. You could get in on this 30% dip right here and see how that goes. If the narrative is really good, it will play out like this. There's a lot of opportunities right here. 170K at a big drop to 100K. So it went to this low right here. You also want to be marking out lows. It's not really accurate when it's 100K in market cap. These are more accurate when it's around minimum 100K, max obviously in the millions. But yeah, generally it works a lot more in the few hundred K to close to a million plus. But yeah, this low got respected, and you could have bought in right here for 38% dip, really good dip right here, and you could have sold for, so it went to near like 250K. You can even sell up here for a near 2x, 90%. But let's say you want to hold more for gains, you could sell up here for 2.3x right here, and you can also sell your initials, so you can sell half of your supply at a 2x and just ride it. And you're like, oh, this is going a lot higher. You can sell your full position here. You'll probably make like a 3x. So this is the way you want to trade. You want to trade scalping for good narratives. You want to be in and out pretty quickly, in the day usually. You just stick to, scalping in the final stretch and migrated sections for minimum 2x, max 5, 10x. Yeah, to like 2 to 5x, I would say is really solid. Because imagine if you have zero point 0.5 Solana and you do like zero point 0.1 scalps or 0.05 scalps, you'll be making zero point 0.1, boom, another zero point 0.1, and your port's at zero point 0.7 now. And zero point 0.8, zero point 0.9, a sol. Let's say you make a really good play and you make zero point 0.3 sol. Now your port's at 1.3 sol now. If you really want some big runners, you could sell your half of your position at 2x and ride that. Now you'll be risk free. So if this goes to like a few hundred K or a million, you can sell for a really good profit. But yeah, so now let's say you're at like a sol. Let's say you had like zero point 0.1 and you don't know what to do with it. I honestly recommend putting more money in. Like at least like minimum a sol, like minimum a sol. I mean the best is like having 5 sol, honestly. But let's say you have zero point 0.1, it's tough. You would have to do 0.05 scalps, like basically half of it to try to hit like a good 2x, pretty quickly. But now let's say you're getting more experience, you made a few sol, your port's at like 5 sol now. Now you could start adding some size in. So now obviously instead of, zero point 0.1, you can do zero point 0.3 now. You can do like zero point 0.3 to zero point 0.5 scalps now. And it doesn't even have to be a 2x. It can be half of a 2x. with zero point 0.5, that's 0.25 Solana you can make. So you basically want to be playing around that. You want to just keep scalping, growing your port up, your portfolio, and just adding more size into it as you go higher. So, if you're at 5 Sol, you can be doing zero point 0.5 scalps, you can do zero point 0.3 Solana scalps. As you keep going higher, go to 10 Sol, you're getting better at it. You can save, you can do 1 Sol plays, but you want to be really picky. You can scale more on like a really high narrative coin. But yeah, usually you want to be doing like zero point 0.5 scalps when you're at like 10 Sol or like 1 Sol. Yeah, 1 Sol scalps. So zero point 0.5 to 1 Sol scalps. And you just basically just keep doing that, keep getting better, keep grinding it out, putting more hours in. And eventually, if it goes really well and you're actually serious about it, of getting better, it can go to like, from 10 Sol, it can go to, 20 Sol, it can go to 30, 50 Sol. And when you're at those levels, like 50 Sol, 100 Sol, you can afford to do like 2 Sol, 3 Sol plays now. Like, you can add in a lot more size. But obviously, we all gotta start from somewhere. So that's why you gotta risk a lot lower, get better at it. Because, if you risk a lot more money, then you can lose. You're gonna be more fearful, right? So yeah, just gotta be smart with it. So yeah, just in summary, you want to always be buying in dips, buying reasonable levels. I made a video about, at the end part of my video, I was talking about psychological levels you want to be buying and selling at. So psychological levels is whole numbers. So it's 50K, 100K, 25, 75, whole numbers. Because that's psychologically where people buy and sell most likely. And yeah, you also want to be paying attention to the highs and lows that these candles make. See how fast the candles are printing, how volatile are they? Is there, check this order book right here. See this guy just put 2 Sol, check how many people are buying and selling. Also, you want to be tracking good wallets too. Uh, but yeah, you want to be buying and selling at reasonable levels. So this coin migrated right here, crime coin. I don't know what the narrative of this is, but you want to be obviously be getting into dip. So this went to, right after migration, it dipped to a whole number. It dipped to 50K, 30% dip, and it just started going up. And it went to this high. You see how it just went to this high? It was trying to break it. It was failing, dipped a little bit more down, and this top just got broken right here. And now it's being really bullish. It's sending, went to near 100K, 120K, sells off, comes down near 50K. So basically comes near this low right here. So a big dip on this migration low. It's supporting it. It did not break this low. Like really good dip. Like what is this? Yeah, 60, 61, 62% dip. This is like the ideal perfect dip you want to be getting into. And you can literally just sell for 50% if you wanted to up here. But the narrative is good, it will play out. You can sell for like a 2x, 3x. So yeah, you always want to be focused on the narrative, the volume, and where you enter is just so important, because when you enter really good on dips, it will make you less likely to sell, because you'll be in that position where, people want to support the coin, so it doesn't crash, so people start buying more in those key levels. So yeah, keep in mind whole numbers. This is where people buy and sell. And you also want to be buying on red candles and selling on green. I'll repeat that again. You want to be buying on red candles and you want to be selling on green, okay? Because you obviously want to buy it at a discounted price, right? You don't want to buy when it's sending up. I mean, you could, depends on how big the dip is. Like let's say there's a dip right here. You're like, let's say there's a key level dip that is really good, and you just want to see how price is going to react. So you just saw that huge candle. Maybe you could buy right here if you want to. But I mean, I don't really know about narrative, but yeah, you could buy just to off of that after that candle to see, how is price reacting, things like that. I have the link to the Axiom down below and also the link to my Discord if you guys want to join. We're pretty active, we're growing. We're at like a few hundred members. We're growing slowly but surely. But yeah, if you guys want to tap in, there's a good amount of traders in there. So yeah, come say what's up. All right, guys, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Stay hydrated in the trenches always, and have a great day. Peace.